we're back for a brand new week of discussions and discourse with the Five Guys on Live. Gentlemen, welcome to another week. Glad that you could make it. And also to Horatio, who has joined us. He's like, I finally made it on time. We celebrate your time of arrival to tonight's broadcast. We have a lot of things to talk about and a lot of things to share. Let's kind of get it started. First and foremost, gentlemen, how are you? How's the week been?
It's Monday.
Busy Monday.
Hey, DeAndre.
Hello. I'm sorry. Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry. I am between here and Savannah these next couple of days. I've been running to and fro, so I'm tired. I'm sorry.
So, Dr. Pickett is very busy. He's running to and fro. Dr. Pickett, what's happening in Savannah?
And I have the pleasure and honor of taking one of my godsons to start school for his first time as a freshman at the Savannah State University, where Mama Vera is a proud alum of that institution.
Yes. And
so shout out to Mama Vera.
If she were here, she would say, "That's a tiger."
Mm-hmm. And she messaged that to me. So she said. So he is on his way. He's actually down there now, and I'll be back in the morning to officially do the move in. So I had to come back really quickly to be here to start the school off year for the Rise schools. And of course, I'll be back first thing in the morning so he can move in. So shout out to all those students who are going back to school, and we send blessings to you because we know this is ultimately, we still have what we're going on. So we're just sending prayers. And, if you know some young people who need something, send some money to them, send something to them because they're going to need you. So that's my PSA for the day.
You are right. I definitely agree with you that young people will need support, especially this year. I would recommend that you think about sending some money in October. So if you have a young person in your life who is currently in college, think about October. That's usually the time that you start to run low. Family fatigue starts to set in. And I remember being very broke in October and November of the fall semesters.
If you go to an HBCU, that might be when you get your refund check.
Correct.
Okay.
But one of the things that we did do, and I linked on it, and something that was done in Morehouse, is one of the things I linked on with some of the brothers who were doing was we would go and get money and put them in envelopes and put our business cards in those envelopes. And we took those envelopes and passed them out in the dorm where we stayed. And so we gave them the money, but we also gave them the business cards so they knew that they had the support. So I would even encourage you finding something to do for the schools that you actually went to as well and try to find a way to support those young people.
No, I will not be able to financially support Mississippi State University. They received all the financial support.
I'm talking to everybody but you.
Everybody but you, Zach.
Everybody but you.
No, I will not be celebrating, but I will be supporting students. I absolutely believe in that and fully support it. While you are traveling around the state of Georgia, Dr. Pickett, we hope that you're being very careful as COVID-19 is on the rise. Over the course of 4 days, we had over 100,000 new cases as the Delta variant now runs rampant around and among the unvaccinated. Here in Metro Atlanta, nearly 900 new COVID cases were identified in Metro Atlanta school systems. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts about the COVID-19 surge that really is gripping the country? And just for all of our viewers out there, everyone who's kind of watching, we look at the different news stories and different things that every week to look at what's going to give us the best show. And the entire week, there has been an absolute domination in the headlines around the COVID-19 surge. Again, 100,000 brand new cases that have now been released over the course of 4 days. Over 900 cases right here in Metro Atlanta schools that involves teachers and students. And there's a total of 1,600 children in ICUs that was recently just shared on tonight CNN. It was on Anderson Cooper Live. And I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's nationwide or if that's in one particular part of the country. Jim, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a little discouraging because, like I've said, a few times, I feel like we did a lot of work. Some people, it's debatable, I guess, about how much work people feel has been done to kind of circumvent the pandemic. But it kind of feels like we're starting all the way over, and that's a little discouraging. I saw a news article where there was a child. The child couldn't have been no more than 2 years old. They had to be airlifted over 150 miles to a hospital because all the hospitals were at capacity in their area in Texas. And so as children are going back to school, and a lot of schools are going back face to face, and some places don't have mask mandates in place, some places aren't requiring vaccinations. We just have to remain vigilant, and we have to remind the kids to also be mindful as they're going back to school, because that is just an incubator for germs in general. And so when you add the pandemic on top of it, it's a scary thing to think that, for the teachers and for the students going back in schools face to face, and therefore at March while these children go back home, it's just very scary to see how things may end up even in the next couple of weeks as people go back to school.
Well, Darius, it's funny that you say Texas, because when I went to Texas a few weeks ago, and we had to go to the hospital because my mom wasn't feeling good at the moment, and I couldn't even go into the hospital to wait with my mom until she got seen, because they said 75% of the hospital was filled with COVID patients. And just being in Texas throughout the week, no one was wearing masks. And I even spoke to the doctor who helped my mom out. And he said a lot of people out here are not getting vaccinated. They don't believe in the vaccine. And then, of course, they're not wearing masks. So I agree with you. I do feel like we're going right back to where we started from. I do believe a lot of us did try to help by getting vaccinated. But I feel like a lot of people also didn't help. There's a lot of people here just getting fake vaccination cards, say they're vaccinated. And there's a lot of people who just don't want to get the vaccine. So I don't really feel like a lot of people are doing what they need to do, but I do feel like there's a percentage of people who is trying to help stop the spread.
Well, I mean, I know that the rates for COVID are going up, but I think also we need to highlight that the vaccination rates are going up. Like more and more people now that seeing this Delta variant out got scared and said it's time to get my shot in my arm. And then one thing that I just saw recently on CNN today was more than 99.9% of fully vaccinated people who have not had a severe breakthrough case of the COVID-19 Delta variant have been hospitalized or death. And so that's good. So many people are seeing like those statistics that if I get this vaccine and I get COVID, I won't be hospitalized or I won't even be dead. And so I think that's helping with some of the rates of the vaccinations, which is good. But on the other hand, people still are hesitant to get it, and it's scary. And so at this point, I think I'm getting like Zach. I'm like, if it's you, I mean, I wish you nothing but the best. Sorry to that person.
No,
I'm glad that you're there. And so, CJ, I'm gonna turn it right back to you. I'm not giving an opinion. I just want to make sure that we address this question from Sean Moorhead. So when are they closing the schools? I am ready to work from home. Sean also said, I literally see 120 plus different kids a day. So I don't want to lose that, because that is definitely a talking point that I think that's worthy of addressing. And just for the sake of data, these are the numbers from Georgia over from March 15th, an all-time low, until now, August the 2nd, now almost reaching an all-time high for the year 2021. CJ.
I'm actually glad you provided that, because I was actually going to ask you guys, do you believe that the media is playing more into this? I mean, yes, I know it's real, and I know the numbers are increasing, and the Delta variant is real, but do you feel like the media is hyping up more than what it should be as well?
I actually want to see, what I actually believe? I think I'll go big for this myself. I actually think, CJ, it's the opposite. I think the media is doing a worse job of actually informing people across the United States of these issues. Many people don't watch CNN and MSNBC the way that I watch MSNBC and CNN. Many people really rely on their local news. And when I watch the local news coverage, I'm not seeing the alarm bells being sounded at the rate in which they need to be sounded. Many people may not realize that in Miami, the largest hospital had to turn their cafeteria into a makeshift ICU. They don't realize there are only 8 beds left in the entire state of, I think it's Arkansas, that's the whole state of Arkansas, there are only 8 beds available for people who possibly will contract COVID-19 and need to be hospitalized. Very likely, those 8 beds in the entire state of Arkansas will be taken tonight. So I don't think that the local news is doing enough to really sound the alarms and make you realize how dangerous this really is. You still have people fighting to have maskless children running around schools affecting people like Mr. Moorhead.
So I want to say one of my good girlfriends, one of her friends got vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and caught the Delta variant, and also her 2 or 4-year-old caught it as well. So now this makes me worry, why are schools even being open now if now this Delta variant is affecting kids now? And then I don't think that the kids can get vaccinated unless they're, over 12 years old, right?
You have to be 12 years old
right.
to get the vaccine. So little children, no options for them to get a vaccine.
Right. So furthermore, why is elementary schools and preschool and daycares even being open? And now this new variant is affecting kids.
And the crazy part about that is that I know even in Fulton County, they can't even disclose who it is that has it. And so even with contact tracing, the messages being sent out to parents are so vague. Let's say you have a few children in your house. You don't even know which one of them has come into contact. You just get a message saying that, it's a possibility that one of your children may have may have been in contact with someone who has COVID. So now you're playing the game of trying to figure out, like, okay, do both of my children need to quarantine? Like, should I send them to school? Should we be here? Like, what should we do? And so there's really no real way in, protecting children with HIPAA and other laws against, disclosing PII and other information like that. There's no real way to even do contact tracing for the children because they can't, disclose private information. So I think that one thing that's annoyed me throughout this whole pandemic is that a lot of it has become partisan issues. Like, we should not be split down the middle, like based on if I, am in a Republican run school board or a Democrat run school board, even though they don't declare, what party they represent. But I shouldn't have to worry about a mask mandate in schools in the middle of a pandemic. It should be mandatory across the board. And if we cannot enforce mask mandates, then we do not need to be in schools at all.
So here's the thing, going back to Mr. Moorhead's comment, when are schools going to close? And, I'm just going to tell it like it is, my friend. Schools are not going to close. That's not going to happen. I really want, and this is something I know you guys get sick of me saying, TikTok coming, but I think people may not realize that we are actually going to be in a dire scenario in this country. Let me tell you why. COVID-19 is about to surge, or is actually surging in a way that is significantly worse than it was at the beginning of the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, I walked into Kroger and somebody was handing out, what are those wipes? Handing out the disinfectant wipes. Somebody was wiping down my material. Somebody was trying to keep me safe, and there weren't even 100 COVID-19 cases in the state of Georgia. Now I go into Kroger and I'm hard pressed to find a brown paper towel to wipe my buggy with. And we now know that this new Delta variant is 9 times more contagious than the Alpha variant was. In addition, we had federal dollars advocated 3 times through 3 different COVID-19 bills to alleviate and support the American economy. I don't foresee us getting any more money. I don't foresee us getting any more support. Hospitals are having to make do with less money or no increased money. We have workers not getting paid the COVID wages that they were getting paid. And we are going to have businesses suffer and the American economy crash like never before, all because our federal government, local and state governments failed to protect the citizens from COVID-19. I don't blame the unmasked, unvaccinated people who are running around squawking like ignorant chickens because they're ignorant chickens. I blame those who know better, the elected officials that we elected who are continuously lying and misleading the people. They are the ones who bear the blame in this pandemic. I don't blame the stupid. I don't blame the ignorant. I don't blame the uneducated because they are victims of this system in the same way that so many of us have been victimized by this system. And I'm now going to,
before we wrap up, do you believe that we're going to go on another lockdown?
No. No, I don't think anything is going to happen to impact negatively the American economy on the part of the government, but the American economy is going to suffer because the American workers are going to have COVID and not be able to work.
Well,
And that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is people are going to still be forced to work, although they're sick, and mass infect multiple people because some people need that money. You don't have unemployment anymore. You don't have the money set aside to support you when you don't work. So some people are going to have COVID and go to work and infect mass numbers of people.
What I would say that some organizations, some large corporations are now thinking that they were going back in October or September back to work are now re-evaluating that and now pushing it back to May of 2022. So for those who are working from home, you still might have that ability as well. But it's sad that it's still going up.
It is heartbreaking. We have some great comments here. Right, it's all about them. And Brandy, I'm so glad you finally got vaccinated. Brandy, honestly, this is a real genuine question. What was your hesitancy as a Black woman around getting vaccinated? Why did it take so long? Because this is really a question I think that many people have struggled with getting this vaccine. And while we talk about what may be the inevitable loss of life of children, we now go to what was an avoidable loss of life of a child. A teen mother in England literally killed her 20-month-old daughter by starving her to death because she neglected her. She left her home alone while she went out and partied. CJ, tell us about it. You're muted.
This young mother, Verfi Kuti, Verfi with a V, last name Kuti, went to a concert in London in Coventry and left her daughter for 6 days. She came home from the concert and she found her daughter, lied out dead on the floor, unfortunately. And she died from starvation, dehydration, and the flu. She was only sentenced 9 years after committing, she was sentenced manslaughter. And she admitted to manslaughter, but they only gave her 9 years. The lawyer was trying to get her off for less than 9 years, and his reasoning for that was because she was a young teen mother. For me personally, I think 9 years is a slap on the hand. I think she should have got the death penalty of not longer than 9 years. Personally, that's just me. Furthermore, what I want to know, where was the grandparents at in the situation? Where was the family members in the situation? Why was no one around or, even knew what was going on? If her family's even involved in her life, I don't know. They didn't really disclose that information. I do know she has a sister who spoke out about, some tweets that she voted because I guess the mother, wanted to be a model for Pretty Little Things. But the whole situation is just sad. I don't get how can you leave your child to go party for a concert and to go to your friend's birthday party. That's what it was. So your friend is more important than your child. It's just terrible, and I just don't know. I don't think years is enough. I think, like you said, life shine or the death penalty for me personally.
And when I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was mental health.
Yes, and drugs.
I'm like, she had to have some mental health issues that is going on for her to do that. And so I didn't think where was the grandparents, where were the other parentals, because I saw that she was in a housing facility for teen mothers and individuals who might not have a home. But to me, I said mental health. Like, what made you do that? Has to be something mental. And I think there needs to be some conversations had about that. But I don't disagree that she should be sentenced for something.
Do you think she's going to serve her whole 9 years, or you think that the mental health is going to come up and she might get out quicker than the 9 years?
I don't know. I mean, usually some people don't serve their full sentence.
I mean, she's 19, so if she did pull the full 9 years, she'll still be out by her late 20s. I just feel like, I don't think that's enough. Like, you literally took your baby's life. Like, you let your baby starve. I'm sorry. That it actually pisses me off. I don't think 9 years is enough. I'm sorry. Mental health or not, like, I just feel like you can't be that out of your mind. I mean, if you're in drugs, I get it. Drugs will make you forget about a lot of things, but to leave your child just to go to
I mean, maybe she is there out of her mind, but I'm with Giovanni. Giovanni says, I don't believe in the death penalty, but there's something wrong with this woman. I definitely don't believe in the death penalty either. But I do think that this is a situation where, number one, I'm so glad that we had a strong village around us. Because if my mom needed to go somewhere, she would never leave me to party. Number one, she would never leave me to party. But if she needed a break or if she needed to go somewhere or while she was in school, there were always people around, family, my aunt, my grandmother, that we would be with in order to, in order to make sure that she was able to handle her business. But in this situation, I'm with you, Zach. I wonder what's the mental status of this girl, and is there help available for her? And then also what Yolanda says, children having children, because that was a very immature move.
I definitely think I think again, there are mental health issues involved. And I don't think that it's appropriate for us to question where was her village or where was, because not everyone has a village. Not everyone has a village. I think it is appropriate for us to celebrate and praise our villages for those of us, who had it. We don't know her circumstances and her life situations, but we do know again that obviously something was really, really wrong and really, really off, is what I'm thinking. And I hope that while she is incarcerated, she is going to get the mental health that perhaps she needs to be able to reconcile what she did and not only learn from it, but heal from whatever issues that she's faced with that led to this bad decision on her part. It's okay if no one agrees with that statement. I know that it's it's a different approach, a different point of view, on it. And so here's some comments. I've seen women on the news where I'm from who have done this before several times. It literally happens all the time. I bet this wasn't her first time doing it. Kanye, you're probably right. She has probably left her daughter before, and the daughter has survived. So you're right. People are done lying. She had to be. She probably was possibly abandoned by her parents, and that's why she was in this home in the first place. She could have been kicked out. We don't know the situations involved. And again, there has to be some mental issues there involved. And then let's be clear, Darius, I was not a teen mom. So Mother Vera wants to set the record straight when we talk about the village.
In case y'all got any questions about where I learned how to read from.
Mama Vera. And then again, the relationship with her father, how the child came to be. These factors are significant impact how every mothers are able to parent. I think, again, they probably had to cite eval. That could have led to a lesser charge or less time on the mother's part because of mental illness. So some really great comments there. So many comments. Free but not free. Makes more sense. She might not have had a bond with her child. And again, if she was dehydrated and starved, it could have happened quickly for a couple of hours. It had to have been long-term abuse, and that's very likely to have been the situation. And then what happened? And when you talk about long-term abuse, many people are talking about the Joe Biden administration and how he is treating those of us who owe student loans. Many people were expecting for the Joe Biden administration to actually implement a level of student loan forgiveness, whether it was $10,000 or $50,000 or the whole damn thing. However, none of it has come to pass. I will say that Americans who have student loan debt, they are getting a moratorium. It was set to expire September 30th. It's now going to be extended until January the 30th. But President Joe Biden says firmly, this is the last extension that I'm going to give. During this time, interest rates will remain at zero and collection efforts will be suspended. Currently 36 million Americans carry some form of student debt, and the collective amount owed for student loans is $1.3 trillion. Gentlemen, here's my question to you. Should Americans who owe student loans just simply be happy with the extension they've been given, a whole entire year of paying no loans back, almost 2 years of paying no loans back? Or should those people demand more of the Biden administration? The floor is open.
Absolutely not. We need to get the student loan forgiveness. I mean, if that's what he said he was going to do for the Americans, that's what he needs to be doing. I mean, so for him to stand firmly and say, oh, January is the last deadline, this is it. But then, when you was running, you were saying you was going to implement student loan forgiveness. It's like you're kind of going back on your word. So, I mean, yes, it's good to not have to pay student loans for a year or 2 years, whatever, but stand by what you said and do what you're going to do.
And if it is that the student loans are, on pause because of the pandemic, then I don't see why there's such a definite date on ending the student loan moratorium, and there's not a definite date on ending the pandemic. So we'll only support, the citizens until we feel that, we no longer should support them. Or, and I know DeAndre is going to say this is politics do, but you should make good on your word. If you said that this was something you're going to do, universal student loan forgiveness at some set amount, you need to be figuring out how to do that. Not, firmly saying, well, on this date, y'all need to be happy with what we did for this amount of time, and on this date it's going to end. It's misleading, and I hope that people hold him accountable for his lies.
I also say this too. I feel like, I do know things don't happen overnight, and with him being president, things take time. But I feel like it could also make people feel, slighted some type of way, because they could have voted for this man strictly because of that. He said he can do this and he's going to make it happen within his term or whatever. And not saying that he won't, because it's still his first year. Well, he's coming up on it's still in his first year. So it's like, people could have voted for him based on that solely alone. But now people could be looking at him side-eyed because, like, well, you haven't fulfilled your, agreement with us, and now you're only saying that you're going to extend it to this date, and then that's it. So what happens after that? Now we're responsible. But when you was running, you were saying that you was going to make this happen. So, I mean, people could be like kind of regretting that they probably voted for him now.
No, I don't regret voting for him.
No, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't personally. But when people are running, there could be certain things on why they're voting for that person, and maybe that's one thing that stood out to people on why they voted for him.
So here we have a comment. They will storm the Capitol before they allow this for us. Read the comments of people who are against it. They are haters. So here's a poll, Facebook user, that again came out. Loan forgiveness. Simply, Democrats want Biden to forgive student loan debt. Loan forgiveness from box of up to 50,000 people making up to $105,000 a year. 77% of Democrats support this, 47% of independents support this, but only 29% of Republicans believe this. So it definitely is a political issue. Unfortunately, I can't tell you why. Maybe it's because the majority of Republicans don't owe student loan debt for multiple reasons. Perhaps their parents paid for college, or perhaps they didn't go to college.
So I have a lot to say about this, but I'm trying to figure out where should I start. A recent article came out in the Wall Street Journal that says college was supposed to close the wealth gap for Black Americans. The opposite happened. Black college graduates in their 30s have lost ground over 3 decades that resulted in student debt and sluggish income growth. So they talked about how this article talked about how college graduates in their 30s were making roughly $50,400 a year, and it fell now to $8,200 over the course of 30 years. So why not forgive student loans? One thing that I do see promising is that more and more corporations are seeing that a college degree matters. So like we have Target and Walmart that are now paying for like college degrees as well as the cost of books for their employees. But why can't we do this? He said he would do it. Like, I'm one of those people who are in debt with student loans, and it's going to take me a while to pay them back. And right now I'm holding off. And January 2020 is a long way away, but I'm still going to be holding off until they are gone.
Well, not that long away. It's only like 5-6 months away.
Right. It's not far away. So I want to hear the DeAndre speech. DeAndre has a speech for you, Giovanni. It is. I love it when he gives his speech. He gives his speech all the time. Tell him why you're not talking, Dr. Pickett.
Dr. Pickett gives this speech because of the fact
wait a minute. Wait, I got to make you big. Let me hold up. I need everybody to see this. This is the Dr. Pickett speech. Take it away.
When there is nothing to be said, there is nothing for me to say. And so I don't speak for my health or my wealth. If there's nothing for me to say and it has been said, there is nothing for me to say. I have agreed with what has been said. There's been some things that I've been kind of, but I can't find my words. So until I find there's something different that I don't agree with, I will say something. Until then, I am enjoying the conversation. Back to you, Zachary Kirk.
And I'll take it back.
I can't.
And so going back to the conversation, back to the conversation at hand. Zach, you brought a really good point. You're saying this man said he was going to do it. You want him to do it. But did he really say he was going to do it? President Joe Biden actually never said he would forgive more than $10,000. Personally, I do believe that ultimately we're going to get to $50,000, but I believe it will be possibly used as an election issue towards the to get him reelected. That's what I believe. I think.
Where's my Elizabeth Warren? He was a big component of this. Where is she? Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren, and she's not a beloved member of the Biden administration.
I need her to push.
He basically told her to go back to the pretend reservation that she said she came from.
Who said that?
Who said that?
It's somewhat of like metaphorically speaking, people. It's not real, but it's metaphorical.
Oh. Okay.
Now, here's a good question that did come up that I definitely do want to address from Dominique Keys Finch. Dominique said, what are our thoughts on Target offering to cover 100% of college tuition and Walmart for the people that may be in programs that lead to management for the companies? Do we support that?
I like it. I think. What was that?
Spend that check and get it right back.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's called building a pipeline. And so you are investing in your employees who would in turn probably stay and be retained, as well as might move up the ladder in leadership and one day be manager of a Target or Walmart. Hell, they make money too. So I'm all for it.
And I actually will comment on that one because I do agree with you on that, Zach. But I do think that there need to be parameters in place that I think would cultivate that, right? Because you don't necessarily want to have something that actually they take the money and then what was it for not? Like for instance, I remember growing up, I worked at McDonald's. And when I worked at McDonald's, if you worked at McDonald's for a certain amount of years, you actually got a $10,000 scholarship from McDonald's. And I stayed the amount of time. And so it was an incentive for actually, and I also like the fact that there are other companies that may not necessarily give 100%, but they also do, like, let's say if you ultimately want to go to college and you also want to maybe go into entrepreneurship, they also provide you mentorship through that process as well. So I think these companies that we spend all our money in they spend a lot of time, I think should be giving back. But again, it shouldn't just be Walmart and Target. It should be other companies that we spend our money to as well. Because I ain't heard Chick-fil-A doing that.
Chick-fil-A they've always been doing something.
Not 100%.
I don't know how much they're doing, but they do.
Chick-fil-A is a corporate setup that constantly takes. Here's a prime example. You don't even get a chance as a franchisee to own your Chick-fil-A. You have to be vetted, approved, holy and Christian, and all these different things that meet their criteria. In addition, they probably have a whole entire check to see, on what level of heterosexual you are before they allow you to enter into their franchise. And then when they do it, you're actually really just being a manager that's highly paid. You don't actually become like a real owner of your own business. Chick-fil-A is trash. Now, with that being said, we have some other really good comments in here again.
The lemonade is not trash, though.
It's trash.
Or that Christian chicken.
Right.
They are. That's what they are. That is all.
Right,
so here's another thing that I do want to kind of segues into what Dominique Keys Finch has said, and it is not only has Walmart. We're talking about Walmart, Target, but Walmart came out as well as Disney saying that if you do not have the vaccine, you cannot work there. And as a result, a number of other companies are also implementing similar policies. Do we support this policy in a company like Walmart? Now, like I know, that Walmart caters to a large demographic.
Yeah.
is a large demographic. I will never forget when Duck Dynasty was all the rave. They were selling a whole line of Duck Dynasty clothes, guns, ammo, camo, and all of that. So
And patty pies. Don't forget patty pies. If
yes,
you want to go to the spectrum.
while we're talking about the lack of FDA approval for the vaccine, we're talking about sweet potato pies made from an actual sweet potato that sits out in the store, but yet somehow doesn't mold or mildew or seem to grow any type of bacteria on it. And we ate those patty pies, but we're hesitant to get the vaccine. Gentlemen, this is what I want to know. Do you think this is a good move on the part of Walmart or not?
No, I don't agree. I don't think it's a good move. I'm gonna say why, because I feel like people have their own conspiracy theories on what they believe the vaccine is and what it does, and what it can do or whatever. And I feel like it's people's right to get the vaccine if they don't, if they want to, and if they don't, don't force them to get it. It's just like any other vaccine, you know what I'm saying? I feel like let people make their own choice. Now, yes, I see why they're doing it, because that's probably going to force people to want to do it because they can't find another job, or they might not have the education to get another job. So they're going to want to do it because they're going to want to keep their job. However, I feel like you shouldn't have to push people to the wall just to make them want to get vaccinated. I don't think so. I don't think it's right.
I disagree, CJ. I'm sorry, but I am fully for this. Originally, I was on your side because I thought it was creating another segregation kind of tactic for those who are the vaccinated and those who are not. But then I'm thinking like health concerns for not only your clients or customers, but also for your other staff is very important. And so I think requiring vaccines for all staff is excellent and should be done, as well as also having those two exemptions for people who medically can't get it or religiously can't get it. And so I think those are the two key pieces, but you should require your staff to have the vaccine if they want to come to work.
I definitely think it's going to increase vaccination rates in and throughout rural America.
Yeah.
And I think that I really think that it speaks to the fragile nature of the American economy. I've noticed that there are businesses that are social distancing on their own. Like I went to some restaurants and I've noticed that they are back implementing social distancing, where in June and July they were not. I had to seek out my own socially distant space or just wait until something became available and really try to negotiate when I would go into a restaurant. So that I've noticed. And I think that Walmart realizes that they can't afford the financial hit of workers not being there, of stocks, of shelves not being stocked, because that's what happens when all of a sudden someone gets sick and it becomes a rolling illness that you can't recover from. So they're implementing protocols that will protect them. I don't think Walmart's doing this for the American people, but the American people may benefit as a secondary result of this. We got some comments in here. Darius Williams, be clear, operate on a different wavelength. Lord bless him. I don't think it's a wise move. There's no way to make these folks get the vaccine. It's not effective, but it will result in them losing their jobs. You don't have it, you can't work there. And a number of companies have said the exact same thing. It's spreading. Calvert, I completely disagree. Retail members are essential workers. They are needed for the American economy. Walmart, yes, CJ.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I say this real quick too. I mean, at one point the flu was killing a lot of people, like thousands and thousands of people. And I mean, I get it wasn't declared as a pandemic, but they weren't forcing people to get the flu shot. So I feel like, why should you force people to get, the vaccine, the COVID vaccine? I feel like it's the same thing. I mean, it's not the same thing. I mean, because it wasn't declared a pandemic, but a lot of people were dying from the flu. Over the past few years, the numbers were high actually for the amount of deaths caused by the flu, and companies weren't requiring individuals to get vaccines then. So now, because this is now declared a global pandemic, which it has been, now they're saying that everyone should get the vaccine or they need to lose their job. I don't think that's right.
I guess my only my only pushback and my only caveat to this whole conversation, which alludes back to the conversation from earlier, as it pertains to these children in these schools who can't get vaccinated. And my question becomes, if you're sending these kids to school and you're doing mask mandates, okay, well, what if you have a parent who works at retail, who doesn't get vaccinated, or who doesn't take it as serious, or doesn't do anything, and you have them still partying out and doing everything else, and they're still working with customers, and they're still working with having their children at home. And so now it's kind of like, how do you mandate adults to do something children cannot do? It's like, if the children can't be, if they have to do a mask mandate for children to go to school, and if you have to sit here and they can't be vaccinated, well, how do we protect them by not having the parents have some type of, you need to do this. If you're teaching a school, maybe you need to be vaccinated. So I kind of have some pushback with that, because we have to be able to counterbalance. You can't have one without the other. So it's kind of one of those catch-22 scenarios.
Well, they're not mandate anyway. You still can choose not to get it, but they can also say you choose not to work here as well. They're not telling you.
They can't make you get it.
They're just saying, in order to be employed with my company, you need to be vaccinated.
So Tanya made a comment saying the flu and COVID are not the same. No, they're not the same. But the flu was killing people left and right, just like COVID was killing people left and right. No one on here said that the flu and the COVID were the same, but the flu was taking out a massive amount of people. You might want to check your numbers on that. It was a lot.
Here's the difference, though, CJ, is that so annually the flu does kill many people who are compromised due to other health complications. But the majority of people in this world have the flu DNA within their bodies, and your immune system is able to create an immune response to help you fight off the flu. Now, with COVID-19, your body does not have an immune response because it is a new infectant that your body contributes to, and that's why it is so deadly and dangerous. You have no idea how your body is going to react to COVID-19, although you probably do have an idea of how your body is going to react to the flu. For generations, we have been able to study the flu and learn how to treat the flu. We have not had generations, we haven't even had decades or even half of a decade to study how we are able to handle COVID-19. And that's why the mortality rate is so strong. That's why right now you have young people, 35-year-old men and women dying from COVID-19 and sitting here saying, oh my God, I wish I had the vaccine.
And I don't, and when I say this statement addressing COVID, this is not me calling you this. I'm just stating the comment that's made. The comment that people make, and please let me know if I'm addressing it wrong, but the comment you make, it says, so don't send them to school. That's a comment that many elitist people make when they, because of the fact, that's an argument that elitist people make, because unfortunately, people sending their kids to school has actually been, in this go around, a blessing to some, because many people can't afford to keep saying that they can't be, making these arrangements to have their kids out of school. And there's just certain things that people don't. So there's no luxury. So unfortunately, this whole concept of don't send them back to school, there's some parents who took hits and blows for not having, for that concept. And we talk about this village. We can't assume that everybody has that village or has a continued village that can actually do that. And so we just have to find better ways to making sure that we're doing our part. We can't just always say, well, don't send them to school, don't do that. That's a scapegoat, and that's a way to get out for us to still do what we want to do and not hold other people accountable as well. And so I just want to make sure we're clear that everybody just need to do their part in whatever that is. You do your part. If you do your part, then we can actually do better. I love the fact, I can't think of his name at this, Eldrin James. It said, if everybody just play their role, if everybody just do their part when he was giving his speech, then we'll be in a better country or in a better place. And unfortunately, everybody's not doing their part.
And so we had some great comments here. Let's go, and I'm going to just take a moment. We're going to read through Giovanni's comment, which says, I'm not sure if you all brought this up, but I'm sure it's probably crossed everyone's mind that it's important to recognize that some people have never actually felt as though they've been in a pandemic. They've had to work with people in essential roles, which has probably created a callous and belief that COVID isn't as serious as it is. Unless they are working in the medical field or have been directly impacted, they may have a different mindset. Dominique said, if you're an essential worker, have a family, and do not take advantage of company-free vaccinations, then that falls on the individual for whatever reasons may be. And they are still able to maintain employment as long as they are following federal guidelines for COVID. So again, it's still a very controversial, I think, topic that we're exploring. James said, more American, narcissistic exceptionalism. We are made to do stuff all the time. But here we are. Here we want to make this the Alamo. They don't want masks or vaccines. Shoot, we are forced to send kids to school. It's a federal mandate to educate children. I know people who think you shouldn't have that law, and then HC Comics, simple as that. Some really good points made. Your child cannot go to school if they haven't had their measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination. Yet and still, we're saying let's let kids go to school without wearing a mask. If you send your high school daughter to school in spaghetti straps, some male administrator is going to police her body because those spaghetti straps and her teenage body makes him feel uncomfortable. And your daughter will be penalized for those uncomfortable feelings. Yet and still, your daughter can't wear spaghetti straps and now is being told that he or she may not be able to wear a mask. This is a ridiculous moment in American history. A number of people like Walmart, they're doing their part. But let's talk about somebody else doing their part, and that's Kanye West. Kanye West, as you know, is living in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That is his home. The Donda, I don't know what he calls it. Donda Village, Kingdom Donda. Yeah. What is it called?
Donda Village, I believe.
Yeah, Donda Village. So while he's living in Fort Donda, he decided to maximize and take full advantage of his living situation by hosting a second, Giovanni said, I'll be back after this Kanye said, he literally hosted a second listening party where he was giving Pfizer shots. So if you hadn't had the vaccine, you could have gotten it before you walked into his super spreader event. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts about Kanye West, the Pfizer vaccine, and the second Donda Village party?
It's not much. That's a good thing that he's doing that he was promoting the vaccine and allowing people to get vaccinated before he came in. They came in to see the listening party. And I also think it was a good way to promote it because, of course, a lot of people were coming to see Kanye. You have a lot of stands and fans of Kanye, and he has a huge following base. So why not promote this there? And, maybe because if Kanye says it, then people might want to get vaccinated because you have people who follow him like super hard. So I think it was a good way to promote it. I think he did a good thing.
Darius, you was there? You was there, Darius?
No, I was not there. But I'm going to say this because just a few weeks ago, y'all wanted these people to go up through the barbershops and through the hair salons and to give them vaccines. And now Kanye done brought the doggone vaccine to his concert, and it's an issue. So y'all meet the people where they are.
Let me tell you why.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Let me tell you why it's an issue.
But
what are you talking about? I'm confused.
Did you say that they shouldn't get the were you here when we talked about the shots at the shops?
I wasn't here, no.
Oh, okay. Well, you should read back up. That was a few weeks ago.
Right, I was in Texas for my mom's birthday, so I wasn't here in that one, no.
Okay, but yeah, that's the people were going up.
Here's the thing. Whether CJ was here or not remains to be seen. But what doesn't remain to be seen is the fact that this was a super spreader event in the heartbeat of COVID-19 ravaged the nation. With over 100,000 cases being diagnosed in the last 4 days, I guarantee you're going to have 100,000 more from the people that chose to go to Donda Village to see Kanye West or the body double that some say Kanye walked out in a mask, sitting there imitating Kanye West. This, to me, was the fact that you are promoting the vaccine to cover up the fact that you want to capitalize off of this moment is in no way excusable to me. Shame on Kanye West. Shame on him for supporting Donald Trump. Shame on him for saying slavery was a choice. And shame on him for killing Black people at Mercedes-Benz Stadium that he's pretending like it is Donda Village.
Well, you should blame the people who's going there to pay the tickets to go see it in the middle of a pandemic.
Oh, please. It was $25. He made it super accessible.
I told you, he wants you dead. He wants you dead so that Donald Trump can win again.
Well, I wasn't there, so.
Is that what he want?
He want to kill you black people in Atlanta early. He wants to bury you in Yeezys and let you go on about your way. So that
I love my Yeezys.
Georgia turn red.
And
In all seriousness.
Now, this is a Yeezy squad over here. Now, I love my Yeezys now.
I'm sure you do, because slavery was a choice. Again, I think that Malik said it earlier, or Malik said it earlier about selective memory. There is no selective memory for Zachary Kirk. There is no selective memory. You don't get a chance to come back from the things that Kanye West, the damage that he has done to the black community. You don't get a chance to come back from that in my eyes. But it is okay for others, and that's fine. I don't judge you for your loving level of forgiveness and West, but I will never, ever
Yes, you do judge the people. Yes, you do. And I'm not going to sit up here and
judge the people hard.
I am an ENTJ. Now listen. Honestly, you know, do you guys feel as though when you really think about Kanye West offering these tickets at $25 a pop, like I really don't see any value in what he has done other than shameless self-promotion. And I don't see how in any way this benefited anyone other than Kanye himself, as everything he does seem to do.
So question, how would it not benefit people if people were actually taking up the offer and getting, I mean, I agree with you, but I'm saying if people did get vaccinated, I mean, what did he do wrong?
It takes, mind you, vaccination. When you get the vaccination, you can still catch it at that moment. So the fact that you took the vaccination, it takes 14 days for the vaccination to make its way through you so you can have some level of protection. So it's, again, the word I use on here lately has been what? Fickle. People are fickle. And at the end of the, but I'm saying that because of the fact that we were ready to cancel him yesterday. And now we're giving him kudos about this whole concept that he had the vaccination. You can't do one thing and then think that you.
Well, wait a minute, DeAndre.
Say what?
I'm gonna let you finish. I was not giving him praise. I was
saying, no, I ain't talking about you.
Oh, okay.
No. I was with you.
What is CFA? What is CFA?
No.
Chick-fil-A.
That Thomas eats Chick-fil-A. CJ eats Chick-fil-A. They all eat Chick-fil-A.
I was with you, because Darius, if you remember, I was with you on that. I was on that barbershop thinking I said that people were fickle and people were pandering. That's what I said. He was pandering to, and I still think that black people can pander. And I think he was at the end of the day. I think it was. And so at the end of the day, I don't think it was a good thing. I don't think in essence, you know, it was about the show. At the end of the day, everything is about a show. Everything is about something. So at the end of the day, I'm like, no, it wasn't a good thing. And it actually, for me, honestly, I think it could have caused more harm than it actually could anything else at the end of the day. So yay. Now I can't even give you A for effort. I can't even do that. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. And people, but again, people, as it's been saying, people made the choice to go. So I don't know.
That part, that's a good question.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah, the city of Atlanta allows such a gathering. Why don't you ask that question? Answer that question.
Listen, Keisha is on sabbatical right now. Okay, Keisha said y'all don't fend for yourself.
Keisha said I'm gone.
She said she's tired of the governor going against everything she says. She's tired of black people going against her. She's tired of everybody. She about to go do her program at Clark Atlanta, and she said she gonna get to this HBCU leadership. Leave Keisha out of it.
Keisha stopped running that city a long time ago.
Because you also have to be mindful that even when a mayor like Keisha, who by the way was at Martha's Vineyard, who did by the way do a mass moratorium she put it back. There are still other things that come into place because Keisha Lance Bottoms does not run the NBA. She does not run Mercedes-Benz Stadium. She does not run the Georgia World Congress Center. So there's certain things that she can do. Unless that comes down through the governor, then there are certain things that she still cannot do even still. So there's a whole lot of power plan that has to be done. So you got to be very careful when you say, well, why didn't the city do this? Why didn't the city do that? And then she has to go through the city council to do certain things.
Yeah, so y'all need to call Antonio Brown.
Why?
because he gonna save us.
Better yet, can I ask this question? Can I ask this question, Zach? And I'm curious, why are we not hearing from some of these candidates who are running, not speaking out about some of these things, like, you know, that are being done? These are, you know, we're not hearing these talking, but these aren't some of the talking points that these candidates have.
They're too busy staging carjackings with federal indictments.
Giovanni, those are the only red apps that I have on my phone. Thank you.
I had a comment, Darius, after that, but then Zach will say he'll say I'm in trouble, so I can't say what I wanted to say. So I'm just gonna not say what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna shut it off. He gonna put me in timeout, so I'm not gonna say.
You know, here is, you know, we really are, and what we'll do is we're gonna save the final topic. Well, we got to do the last topic because it fits in with wear your mask, wash your ass. Okay, I'll just have to say it. You know, wear your mask, wash your ass. That is the actual title of this week's talk, and let me tell you where that title came from. It was inspired by that 70s show stars. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, when they said that they do not believe in frequently washing themselves or their children. They said they only wash their kids when they actually see dirt or smell them, and that they themselves only wash their own bodies when they can smell their bodies. Well, gentlemen, this has been something that has really taken hold on Twitter. We've even had other celebrities like Jake Gyllenhaal, who was eating beans on Brokeback Mountain, come out, and he said the exact same thing, where he said he too chooses to not wash himself every single day. Giovanni said nasty. Malik
why
said,
are we so? I guess
Yolanda said say what? And the whole house smells like ass. I would like to know, what are your thoughts on these celebrities saying they don't wash every day?
Why are we even having this conversation? I mean, look who said it.
Well, please don't judge me. Please don't judge me.
Stand by what I said. Look who
I don't like your prerequisite, Zach.
Who, me? Please don't judge me.
Sticking by what I'm saying.
Not to let me go back. There was a black musician, a black R&B. Who was it? A black musician last summer said she doesn't take baths.
No, it was Janae. It was Janae Aiko. She was on the Breakfast Club, and they took her words out of context. She did not say she did not bathe. She did not say that. But nevertheless, the majority of people
believe that this is a black-white bathing issue.
Well,
I just think that some people.
I'm just saying the majority of the people who said it that said that was of that color. Now,
the ones who are coming out and acknowledging it as an actual thing are these celebrities. Just so happen to be white. But Janae Aiko, or however you say her name, she is a woman of color who obviously
did not say she did not.
The point is, what do we think about these celebrities not bathing?
What do you mean? What do we think? It's fucking nasty. It's disgusting and everything else. I mean, what do you mean? Well, I mean, what do you mean? Like, then that makes me think: are they sitting here doing the same thing? They probably not washing themselves only when they see dirt or when they touch dirt. So they probably done had the COVID and Corona and everything else. Who knows? I don't know.
And you need to use white washcloths because it will humble you.
So
you use white.
I don't even. This conversation, honestly, is whatever. Like, I mean, if you think it's okay for you to not wash your child because you only see dirt, that's terrible. God knows what kind of germs they have in between their nails and their hands and everything else. It's just terrible.
Go back up, Zach.
To where?
To James. He said Americans are obsessed with bathing in comparison to the rest of the world. If the rest of the world smell like hell, let them smell like hell, okay? But over here, as for us and our
me in this house,
it needs to be decent and in order. Y'all need to get y'all some soap. What my mama said.
Ranch yourself.
Do not put that back up there, Zach. Do not go away.
Listen here, beloved. You will not be coming in this here house smelling like hot damn. You will not.
Why?
But I want to hear what I want to hear what Zach was going to say too. So I want to hear what he was going to say. I ain't letting you off. I want to hear what you was going to say. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Friend,
in full transparency, when we was on lockdown, I did not bathe every day. And there's plenty of y'all who probably didn't either.
No.
When you was in this house, in that house. And I'm just being honest. And I'm being honest. Like, it was just me.
It was just you?
It was just me.
Look, no.
On lockdown.
No.
Let Zach, I don't know.
Once the world opened back up, I got back to my regular morning and night.
Let me say this.
I'm just saying.
I bathed today twice. I bathed after I worked out, and then I literally took a bath before getting on the show because I had.
But Zach, you wasn't bathing twice a day when the world was on lockdown. You wasn't going any fucking where.
Well, you still need to wash your ass. You do piss and shit and everything else, right?
I don't like the smell like.
I'm sorry, you do piss and shit and everything else.
Who's to say you smell like something?
Zach, do you not know that your body naturally sweats when you sleep? Naturally.
Okay.
You have right. So
do you not know you're dirty after you get out the shower still? Because you probably still sweating? Like
you sweat when you sleep. You should shower in the morning and shower at night. You should wash your face and everything else.
I was afraid to get the corona. I thought we had to wash it off.
Thank you, James. I'm not alone.
If you over here agreeing with James, I need you to log off right now.
You know what, Zach? I appreciate you for living in your truth and being honest. Ain't nothing wrong about it, but no, I don't care if you leave the house or not. You should still take a shower and wash your ass. I don't care. You still using the bathroom. You're doing everything else, so you should be going and taking a shower.
And while we on the topic,
I wasn't having visitors over. I was
it
just
don't matter. You
by myself, alone, ordering my Uber Eats or whatever, or cooking my food. And so why? Who I'm trying to? I'm not having any guests. I don't have that red hat that you have of having people over.
No,
I don't have that.
This is the color of Zach Thomas's testicles because they are caked with dirt. They are black and rusty because he is not washing his balls. Now, let me tell you something right here. I
would say something, but Mama Vera on here. I would say something. I'm going to keep it clean and holy.
Dirt cementing to my body.
I just want to say, and while we
I want my testicles to be as smooth and shiny and the same color as my forehead.
Okay, Zach. Okay.
Your testicles are all
Darius has something to say.
We're on the topic. This school year, don't y'all be rolling up out of your bed in your pajamas, running over to that school with them nasty pajamas on you've been wearing all week, embarrassing them kids. Don't y'all do that this year. I don't want to see it and I don't want to hear about it. Wash.
Those ugly, nasty, dirty flip-flop sandals that ain't been washed in years, looking just all that. But Zach, also, just so you know, your testicles will never look like your forehead because of the fact they sweat down there and it's dark down there. So they'll never look like that. Just for the record. That was a health lesson, Zach, Darius, just so you know that was a health lesson.
I used to use the Johnson & Johnson baby powder until it started killing folks. So you know, that was doing a phenomenal job of protecting them and keeping them nice and cool. But you're right. Since I can't use that anymore, you know, it's definitely been a difference.
But can we please get off the testicles and balls conversation?
We're going to go to a Black History moment because
here you go, everyone. For today's Black History fact of the day is that for the majority of Black people in the world, we would go to school and come home and have to change clothes. You would have outside clothes and school clothes, and you would have home clothes because you were to be kept nice, fresh, and clean. Some of us had to literally take a bath after getting home from school because the kids in school were nasty. And so you could run around and play. 5 o'clock, you come in the house, wash your tail, and change clothes. But that was Black history in rural Mississippi. What do you have to share with us, Derek?
It was the same in rural Georgia. But I think that we should block James Johnson. He can no longer participate in Five Guys on Live. But I did want to share a little history with you all as soon as this is removed from the screen. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So in honor of our Black History moment for the night, I did want to highlight Matthew Henson. He is the first African-American explorer to stand on top of the world. That is the North Pole. So in 1909, a team of 6 men on dog sledges made their way to that point. And he was one of the ones to go there from Maryland. So he was the first African-American man to touch the North Pole. So that's our Black History moment for the night.
Can I add one? Happy birthday to Whitney Houston.
Was that today?
It's today. It's today.
And now Zach is going to favor us with the solo.
A and B selection.
Dominique, cue up the organ.
Zach?
Take it away.
No, he was saying you, not me.
No,
I was talking about you.
Since we talked about the kids, I believe the children are our future. That's all. Thank you.
Sexual chocolate. That boy good.
That boy the same.
That boy good.
Yeah, share my life. Yeah, you give good love. That's all right, Giovanni. You really got it over there in Charlotte. Okay.
Yes.
We absolutely honor the life and legacy of Whitney Houston. It's really just, I mean, the best. She is my favorite American voice of all time for Zachary. I know that's not for everybody. Everyone has their favorites, but Zachary's favorites are Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross. Those are my 2 favorites. And so that's just me. So everybody, we are now.
So you telling your age now.
Zach Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate.
Shut up, Zach.
So with that being said, we are now going to log off. Join some of us for the after show on IG. You can go to my page, Zach Thomas's page, DeAndre Pickett's page, or I am just CJ for the kickstart. If CJ's still joining us, everybody have a great week. Darius, we'll catch you next week. I know that you have to get ready for work. Have an awesome